Between the hills, the stars, the sky, the river so clear, river so clear.
Our opening words this morning are from Eric Wistrom. Here today, in this place and with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. Our chalice lighting words this morning are, we light this chalice to remember the light within, to know that the hunger we feel inside is an echo of inner wisdom that wants something more for us, for others, for this weary yet wonderful world.
Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibilities. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibilities. Aye, 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 aye. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibilities. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibilities. Aye, 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 aye.
Our speaker this morning is Ronya Galligo-Hoblit, who is a longtime member of our UU, so most of you will know her, maybe all of you do. She is also a citizen of the Oglala Lakota, a mother of one, and an Unci of one. Ronya is the Executive Administrator Assistant for the First Nations Women's Alliance, and today she will be teaching us about change makers in the indigenous community, what it means to be a change maker, and how we can all be change makers.
Change makers. Well, hello, choir. I'm here to preach to you. Thanks for being here today. I'm just so excited to have my sister. I'm a little nervous too because of it, but anyway. Okay, so let me begin with a quote from Malala Yousafzai. I hope I said that correctly. The activist from Pakistan who has for more than a decade been fighting for children's rights to education. No matter where you live, how old you are, where you come from, you can become an activist in the community. And today I want to share with you a group of people from across North Dakota and just a little bite of Montana, a little bite of Minnesota, who are all strongly involved in their communities through their work, families, and history, past, current, future. They have been brought together by the First Nations Women's Alliance, and they will, as a group, continue to create change where they live and work. Lost my place. Those places may be on a reservation such as Standing Rock, Fort Berthold, Lake Traverse, Spirit Lake, Turtle Mountain, or the Trenton Indian Service area. Their urban centers, which are also home centers for the tribal members, can be anywhere in the state, but some of the main ones are Fargo, Minot, Bismarck, Grand Forks, Williston, and tribal colleges in or near those areas may also become an integral part of this as an ongoing community resource for this group of change makers. For those of you not maybe haven't heard of First Nations Women's Alliance or curious about it, I'm also housed in the back of this building, and you can stop by most days from 10 to 2. I'm here. But anyway, First Nations Women's goal is to end violence against women and children. And the violence goes by many names: sexual assault, domestic violence, trafficking, emotional, spiritual, cultural, psychological, financial. And these change makers will be key to accomplishment of that goal. As the fall meeting of the change makers began in September 2024, many of those attending, well, they had been to a meeting, some of them had been to a meeting last fall, and they still kind of weren't clear about what their level of participation would be as a change maker. What was this big idea? How much did anyone know about how to get this thing rolling? Was there a plan? Well, if so, what was it? And how and where were they to start? All they knew was they were being called on to end violence against women and children. Yikes. Yeah. So each day of the meeting began by giving thanks for each and every person in the room, and for those who would eventually be drawn to be included as a change maker. Prayers were given to ask for appreciation of our Mother Earth, our sun and moon and universe. Blessings were given for those who have experienced any type of violence to them or to a loved one. Guidance was asked for clear thinking, strong hearts, and open arms to be able to provide protection and safety to all. Now, during those 2 days, there was an unfolding of a process that looks very much like the graphic on your program. Take a look at that. I don't know about you, but that looks like my day most of the time. And believe me, in that room, for those 2 days, there were no straight lines. Nothing was an easy point A to point B. Ta-da! Didn't happen. Everyone worked hard. We joined in the conversations, provided information to others, met new people, renewed friendships, and worked through barriers with the help of others. 2 significant components of that meeting emerged and converged. One was the making of medicine bags. And this was mine. This is my beauty from that day. No two were alike, as it should be. The medicine bags were their own process. Material, ribbons, and thread were chosen. Cutting the material and making certain that the inside of the bag was made of red material was imperative. The sewing was done by hand, and then creating this tunnel for this ribbon, oh smoke, and pulling the ribbon through the tunnel presented with its own special difficulty. But in the end, it was all worth it. If someone needed help, there was no hesitation in doing so. There was always a helping hand nearby. The medicine bags were made to keep or give away. A gift of a rock or stone was given to each person, mine's in here, and would become a part of the contents. The owner and keeper of each bag chooses the contents that have a particular meaning to them. Among the items in my own medicine bag that I've had for years is a tablespoon of soil from the yard where I grew up. The bags are meant to be honored by others. It's nobody's business what is in there or why, unless the owner wants to share that information. The other component that happened was the realization that no one of us ever was, no one of us is ever or ever was alone. I don't know about you, but when I figured that out, it was kind of cool. They understood better through conversation, sharing, and supporting one another. As each reservation or location, we put up papers on the wall, and each location put up their resources that they had in their community, and then got to explain that to other people. And it was really interesting because as they did this, other people in the room were going, oh yeah, because things like libraries, people were like, oh yeah, we have a library. we have a particular office that will help us out, or there's a place where we can all gather, or even just whatever it was. They were seeing things, or they were seeing things that they wanted, or that would be helpful. During that time, it was during that time, it felt like intention came into the room and it never left. People were like, oh, it's like it changed. The air in the room changed somehow. Ideas began to take root as seeds were planted of how to take action through teamwork, showing up, being a better listener, promoting community involvement, and being a good relative. The crazy thing is that every person in that room was already a change maker, whether they were 11 years or 80 plus years old, and we had that range in there. But now they had a better understanding of their nature, and they had a new way to self-identify. And that would be to think of themselves as a person who creates change, and that identity would be undeniable wherever they go and whatever they do. These change makers, by their own definition from day one, and these are the words that they put up in front of the room, are role models, gatekeepers, community collaborators. They're kind, humble, champions of progress, champions of change. They're brave, bold, strong, and cherishers of culture. At the beginning of those 2 days last September, they have been a little foggy on what it was to be a change maker, but no more. They have a much clearer vision of themselves and what's before them. So let Malala and me remind you that no matter where you live, how old you are, where you come from, you can be an activist in the community. And now, to borrow loosely from the musical Hamilton, change makers, we get the job done. I will say that if there's a need in our change makers group, we may be asking for support in some way. Or, if you know of resources, you can tell us. It's just that everybody, like I said, I'm preaching to the choir. I know that everybody in here is a change maker. That's one of the things that drew me to this church. But I had never thought of myself as that. And a lot of these young people that were in this room, and I say young people, it's anybody who's younger than me, were in that room. And we had two very young people, 11 and 12 or something, anyway, young, had all done things in their community. We're doing things now. So, if anybody, if we have any need or whatever, I'll put it out there. If you have a resource that might be good or an idea that might be good, come to me, let me know. And you'll see us around. You might see us at a powwow. You might see us at just someplace in town. It's important. It's important to all the people in that room. It's important to us, I know, as a community, that we keep everybody going on a same or going forward on a path of community, of support, of all those things that we all do. So it's just the whole idea of that shift in your head of, oh yeah, everything I do, people are seeing everything I do, good or bad. Somebody's going to see you. I come from a small town. You didn't get away with anything. So, so good or bad, which is okay. It's, but thanks for asking. Yeah. And, by the same token, if any of you are a part of a group or a community, another community, and you need help, I know you ask or you let us know what other resources are. That's part of it. It's just all being connected. Because if we're in our own little places and we don't head out and go, hey, hey, I'm here. How are we gonna know if you don't ask? In any relationship, how are you gonna know if you don't ask?
No, so I'm just trying to understand, and I think so the idea is that everybody's out there doing things, I'm just giving examples. Like if even for work, I show up, we have a booth for AARP at Pride, or if I am volunteering one day somewhere, it's this idea, it's that the consciousness that I'm not alone doing this thing, that because I'm doing a thing and you're doing a thing and you're doing a thing, it's a web of change making, and it makes you feel more empowered because sometimes you just feel so alone because the problems are so big and the world is big and I'm one person in this rural state. And so it's that, right? I mean, is that kind of the underpinning of this, that everything together lifts everything and we're not alone in doing it? Is that the intent of the change making
Yeah.
connection?
And to give people who have been doing this all their lives, how to name themselves, how we think of ourselves. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And I
that
was thinking
helps me.
too, while you were talking, it was that asking the question thing. Sometimes you go to something and you don't realize it, that you have a question or you're curious about something. And I don't know, quite often you'll meet somebody and they might have the answer to a question you didn't even know you had. So, and it brings you together. And the other thing is, I call it the Me Too thing. Like when you're talking to somebody, it does not matter. We could go out here and wait till somebody to pass on the side, would be weird, but and then we'd stop them and talk to them. But, and when you're visiting and at the moment when one of you or both of you say, me too, I know that, I did that, you're connected. And it's that idea. I mean, even in your own community, sometimes you forget what you have. Like the people in that room, the young people in that room were just like, oh yeah, you forget about the tribal college is over there, and we sometimes, and we want to connect with them, but it's just a resource that you forget. There's a library there are community rooms, there are, yeah. Yes.
How has this shaped your perception of yourself and of your interaction with your kid, your the world around you? But how has it changed your perception of yourself to be a part of this?
For me, what it did is I kind of went back through the years and thought, well, because there were lots of things I did that weren't great. So, you know how we are. Anyway, but I kind of went back through the years in my head and I thought about maybe all the things that I did, in my past, or people that I knew, or people, that I might have been a change maker for a long time, but just didn't realize it. And again, didn't know. And so I was just kind of wondering to myself, what if I had realized that earlier in my life? What if I had gone with better intentions, down the lane, and been able to be more conscious, more conscientious. Conscious is good too, and that all, and intentional with things that I did in my life. And now, I mean, I'm just at a point where I don't know how long I got. So, but I really want to make sure that what I do from here on out, that embodies that intentionality.
I just have a question about the group. Is it a group that you're looking for more members, or you're looking to promote a service that you do, or can I refer someone to you for something? Is the group purpose, can you describe the group purpose and how it interacts in?
First of all, the First Nations Women's Alliance is a group in itself that they provide trainings for domestic violence and sexual assault, and each of those can be think of this, a 40-hour training for other people who give direct services in that area. We're working on creating more workshops for prevention. And that is what our biggest goal is prevention, is to keep, and it is to be able to people who are in the communities, and our focus is Native American communities. In, although if it spills out, that's good too. We are a resource
To refer people to.
Yes, and to provide seminars, workshops, webinars for training.
For victims and for care providers?
Victims can be a part of it, and they are. I mean, maybe unless somebody chose to tell us they were, we wouldn't ask. But there's a new statistic out there that it used to be, I think it was 1 in 4 of the Native American women have been sexually assaulted. It's now 1 in 3. We need to be out there creating, giving people more chances to create their own strength, their own resilience, we say we're resilient, but sometimes I think we forget, or we forget how we're doing it, and sharing that with other people. But we're not I'm not excluding anybody. It's not like we're not looking for for other people to be a part of it. We have our groups in each of our communities, and where they're working, and particularly on the tribal reservations. But like up in Minot, there's one of the people who was in the room is working with high school students. So as a resource, I've trying to get her and the lady who is the tribal liaison at the Bismarck Public Schools together, so that they can get more idea. They can have more ideas and what to do, and that's what we're doing. It's just supporting each other.
I've been a community organizer, like, I guess most of my adult life anyway, that, in some way, and, to be the eyes and ears of a community and such. And, but this ties in a lot with, was it last week? I think I was on Zoom watching the Green Dot training. And I was wondering if you were there to watch it or know of it. And I'm having trouble, but it's resources, community resources can somebody else remember more who maybe, to alert people if they see something, say something.
Yeah.
That's actually what I'm from New York. It was on the subways all the time.
Yeah.
See something, say something.
Yeah.
Nobody say, everybody's behind
Bystander.
To raise the standards that this is not allowed, that something like this is not allowed, and to, so there's centers and green dots. I'm going to have to review the video of last week, but if anybody can add to that, but that is a really good resource for here.
I think I'll start with a UU comment. It's a really good, what you've talked to us about this morning is a really good reminder that being a change agent, being a change maker is a really good thing. Because I think sometimes, particularly living where we do, or in a culture that says just go along with whatever's happening, or maybe it's being intimidated by fear or by peer pressure or whatever, but I can't make waves. The whole idea of don't talk about politics or religion is the way to get ahead, and so keep your mouth shut. So we're fighting against some pretty big waves of intimidation for being a change maker. So this was really inspiring in the way of reminding me that that's a real, being a change maker is a really good thing. And maybe it's just a request of you listed some things about change makers that I got to remember that and remember that. So some of those points in your talk were really, really good to maybe just have up on a wall or to remind ourselves of what it is that we probably are already doing, but we might forget, and that just to be reminded that these are really good things to do and to make things better. And I really, sometimes we make change the best just in our own circles. And then it's a concentric circle, and it gets better, and it ripples out. Sometimes we think about change that we got to make the big change all at one time. Well, it doesn't happen. That's really hard. But a lot of change is based on changes right here with us. So, but thank you so much for this.
You're welcome. It's like the pebble in the pond, or, you want to make change, but it's like the words peace and love. Peace and love. That's cool. But without action, it's prayers and thoughts.
I guess I have one more question because this is a women's group. I had a colleague who was doing a men's group, and I was teasing him because I thought, you're organizing men because boy, they lack power, right? Like God, and he's like, no, this is about mentoring men in a way that they are raised to not do all. I mean, 1 in 3 women, are any of us ever surprised at us females in the room, especially when somebody is an essayer? It's like, no, we know this. We're not surprised. We walk the world as prey,
Right.
literally. So he's doing this with young men to mentor, to change, make them intentionally think about how to grow, how to relate to women and themselves. Is there any group like that around and also just offer, you said you'd help us anytime. You got stuff you want us to walk beside with you, we are there or behind, but let us know.
Right. Thank you so much. I just want to say too, I didn't mention it in here, that we did have a young, well, there are a couple, but and she was there, and then he was like, oh, do I come in here? Because it was all women, But yes, absolutely. This young man is making all kinds of change with I don't know if it's men and boys, but boys in particular, but young men, and doing activities with them and teaching and he's fabulous. There should be 100 more of him, and everywhere. So we say First Nations Women's Alliance, and it's murdered and missing indigenous women, which is now becoming /people. And yes, there's plenty of room for people who, we don't want to exclude anybody. That's not who we are. So.
Well, now we're going to extinguish our chalice, and these are the words for our chalice extinguishing. May we open our hearts and minds to one another and the world. May we let ourselves be changed by the stories around us. May we deeply listen and be listened to, and be held in silence and love. And so may it always be.
Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. We want the world to know we won't let hatred grow. Put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide this will be your guide. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. Just wait.